Neon White is good. This game is very, very stylistic, reminding me almost of tropes and visual styles of 90s anime and a lot of modern anime too. This is just one of those games that feels like a Toonami kind of like bumper in between like watching, like say you're watching Naruto or Cowboy Bebop and you get like the bumper with Toonami. It feels like that. And I think that's partly because of the voice actor choice for Steve Bloom voicing Neon White, along with some other very talented voice actors of voicing some of the other creative characters in this game, such as Neon Violet, Yellow, Red. You get the picture. And a lot of this game is very much like anime inspired and very, a lot of nostalgia from those aspects of anime, especially like, again, Toonami, kind of splurge into a video game, it feels like. And I say that in terms of when you combine the gameplay and the soundtrack and all the visual styles all in one. But I want to go ahead and talk about this in at least a reasonable order. So let's go ahead and cover one of the first important things, the gameplay. The gameplay of Neon White is this fast-paced, first-person perspective parkour kind of game. And you're using a card-based system for weapons. And each of the weapons get to give you certain abilities if you discard them. And so if you have the pistol, you can right click and discard it, and you'll be given a jump. If you right click and discard the Godspeed sniper rifle, you'll be given Godspeed and dash. If you right click on the submachine gun, you'll ground pound. You get the idea. Each of these weapons have a really unique discard ability, and some are just straight up extremely useful if you're trying to go for very good times, because this game, at the core of it, it's just to complete the level as fast as possible, which is ironic because I still haven't beaten the game at the moment, but I have sunk almost 40 hours into this game, but I digress. I would argue that this game incentivizes more replay value than just going through each level one time, getting the bronze, silver, or maybe the gold or ace medal occasionally, and just being done, because this game does have a medal system to reward you for getting good times. If you get the kind of worst possible time, you'll get a bronze or more than likely the lower tier silver. If not, you can get the gold, ace, or the coveted dev medals. And the dev medals are technically the highest medals you can get in the game, other than, getting a world record. But the dev medals are basically times set by the actual developers themselves, similar to, say, like time trial ghosts in Mario Kart games. And what you basically do is they won't tell you the dev times, you just kind of figure them out yourself. And I kind of like that idea, where you just kind of perfect a level, and it gets you to really think creatively, and it incentivizes you to replay a level that might only take you 15 seconds and try to squeeze out till it's maybe 12 seconds, and maybe then you can see, there's a reason I can get 10 seconds here. And it's constantly this creative expression of again, speedrunning. Speedrunning is a huge influence for this game, and this game is core built around a lot of these niches found within a lot of games I love, such as Mirror's Edge, where I like going through levels in Mirror's Edge extremely fast, and Neon White feels like I'm just playing Mirror's Edge the way I would normally, which is just super fast and super fluid, and it's incentivizing you with the levels being short and bite-sized, and even if the levels are a little longer, they're still a lot more shorter and bite-sized comparatively to, say, again, a Mirror's Edge stage. I'll be real, the creativity in terms of the platforming and the level design and the way you utilize weapons and the amount of expression you get just with the gameplay, it flows very naturally. This game looked to be kind of overbearing. It kind of looked like it was overstimulating at points I would see trailers, but the card system is just second nature as soon as you play for just a little bit. And I'll be honest, even playing this on a controller for a little bit, granted it's not my preference, I could easily play this game as efficiently on controller as I would on PC. Granted, I'm not the best player, but I could still enjoy the game and have a good time regardless if it's with a controller or a keyboard. And for a game of this caliber, obviously I have my preferences, but I could see either way working. And the core replay value this game has past a one-time playthrough, for the medals, getting better times, and not to mention the story, which the story is pretty good. I haven't really experienced all of it, but it is interesting. It is a story about an amnesiac, aka Neon White, who doesn't know any of his memories, and he has to kind of rebuild off of that, and he's in heaven because in a previous life, him and his ragtag group of friends, Neon Yellow, Violet, Red, and Green, all basically did some crazy GTA bank heist, I'm assuming, and that's all I know really. There's some nuances in the story, but you get like a social link system as well to kind of balance out from you doing high-speed, fast gameplay to more of you get to go to the hub of heaven and essentially meet with other neons that I was already mentioning, give them gifts you find throughout the levels, which are basically these hidden little gifts that you can find in each level, and it incentivizes you to maybe not discard all your weapons, but to think a little more creatively, to use weapons in a different way, and actually platform the entire rest of the map that you might have ignored when you're just speeding through the regular game. And I really enjoyed that. It was such a cool thing to just go run, go through the ace medals, and then take a break, go in the hub for a little bit, realize I have no gifts to give anyone, and go back and look for all the gifts that correspond to each character, because it was such a fun romp. In doing so, you actually unlock more things with each of the characters that correlate to the story, or a little fun slice of life bits, and on top of that, you even get side quests from certain characters, from Neon Violet, who has a lot of side quests that involve spikes and a lot of spikes. Like, it's like a Celeste Seaside up in here. You have Neon Yellow, who does not let you discard any weapons during his puzzles, so it really makes you think outside the box. Neon Red, which I haven't really noticed a specific pattern with Neon Red other than just platforming. I might just be wrong here, but still. And then Neon Green, who has a few interesting things up his sleeve, but we can't really get too far into Neon Green because I haven't really progressed that far. But every side quest you get from giving gifts over time, it feels pretty rewarding, and also the dialogue you do get that is pretty slice of life is also a pretty big reward in and of itself, and I really enjoy it. It incentivizes more replay value, and incentivizes completionism, if that's a word, and incentivizes someone who likes these games already to play it for hours and hours on end and completely get sidetracked and forget that the story even exists, because I'm trying to go for some dev medals and gifts. All of this wonderful gameplay is also coded super nicely with, again, super duper talented voice actors like Steve Bloom, but on top of that, you have the entire soundtrack being composed by Machine Girl, one of my favorite artists out there, and such a wide variety of genres that they themselves have covered in their discography. But hearing that Machine Girl was composing the music for this game was just this big explosion in my heart. I was so excited to hear what they were doing with the actual music, and sure, I could have just looked at the Neon White demo OST, but I avoided it all. And I will say, hearing the OST for the very first time while playing through this game, and even checking the other songs that might have not even made it into the full soundtrack, because there were a few, I am in love with this soundtrack. It is right up my alley. It is very creative. It covers a lot of different genres, from breakcore to drum and bass, to a lot of house music, some trance elements, some very nice heavy bass, heavy drums. It's if you like a lot of electronic music or even underground electronic music, you're gonna love this soundtrack. It feels like, as some reviewers have said on Steam, that, oh wow, I got a video game with my Machine Girl album, and it feels like a full album rather than an OST. And I love how it can be both. It can be enjoyed separately, and even if the game doesn't interest you, the soundtrack will more than likely will, and it's insanely good, and I am not gassing this up just for the sake of it. I promise you, the Neon White soundtrack is actually incredible, and you might only find a few songs in there, but those few songs are going to be stuck in your head, I promise you. So why should you care? Every reason I stated is a very good reason why you should actually care and sink a lot of time into this game, even if you might not think you would like it at first glance. Neon White was a game that I didn't know I needed desperately, but I ended up caving in, spending the $22 I spent, and oddly enough spending way more time in this game than I have in any other AAA game I have played thus far, which I find super ironic because of how excited I was for Elden Ring, only for me to drop it because it's just open world games usually do that with me, and I'll eventually get back to it, and ending up playing Neon White for about 30 to 40 hours and still have the attention span to want to push through and play more and replay levels and it's such a comforting and therapeutic experience to just kind of go fast. It's kind of like how I am with a lot of action games. I just like to do cool combos and do cool things and be stylistic, and I feel like this game has a lot of freedom with its expression of how fast you can do levels, and it gives you a lot of creative tools and a lot of the kit that the game gives you with the amount of cards you get per level, and even lack of in certain levels. You still can do a lot of creative things and have your own self-imposed challenges. There's obviously a lot of core replay value that this game offers, and in general, as someone who likes speedrunning in general, but can't really commit to it all the time, it's a very, very good middle ground. I'm very excited to see more updates from this game. I'm very excited to see anything else Neon White related. I just really think more people need to give this game some love. It is fantastic. I know it came out the same day Shredder's Revenge came out, although that is another fantastic game. But this game deserves all the attention, in my opinion. It deserves all the love. Give it a whirl. It's out on Switch. It's out on Steam. I'm not being told to say this. I just absolutely love Neon White, and I am going to shill this game for the longest time. So, with all that being said, thank you for listening to me. I know this is kind of unscripted off the top, but you know how it is sometimes. Take care of yourselves, stay healthy, and drink some water.